Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Although I don't know if I should actually call this an episode of Inside Guns, but since I've had a really rough couple of days, and I'm going to have a rough couple of weeks coming up, I have a feeling, and I'm just not in a very good mood, I'm actually going to do a little video here where I kind of clap back a little bit at some of my haters. I want to address two very specific emails I got, and I'm going to address them separately, and that's going to be the show today. So maybe I should have said a very special show of, a very special episode of Inside Guns and had some dramatic music or something. You know, where it'd be one of those shows where I get my first period and don't know what, like those shows you watched on TVs. Oh, I'm not going to be getting my first period at my age, though, trust me. But that's the kind of a thing it's going to be. The first thing I want to talk about is someone who sent me a rather detailed email about what an asshole I am, simply because I talk about people being open-minded and giving people the benefit of the doubt, and I think most people are good, blah, blah, blah. But then when it comes to people who have any feelings about gun control that are not the same as mine, which would be more severe than mine, they'd have to be more of a believer in gun control than me because I'm not a believer of any gun control, I don't give them any benefit of the doubt. They said, where's your benefit of the doubt when they might actually mean what they say? They might actually, think this is for better good. They might think it might save lives, etc. Well, I do believe that they believe that. Some people, I do believe that. Like someone who's lost family. I mean, they can't cope with the fact that they've lost a child. It's not easy. So you have to have a mechanism to blame somebody. And it's easy to blame the guns. Especially after the person who's did it, if they're dead, that makes it even worse because you can't really go after them. So you have to be like, if they hadn't had a gun, it's just anything to help them grieve. But then they get taken advantage of by other people like Bloomberg who bring them to, stage show after stage show to relive the tragedy, the worst day of their life, which I don't like at all. But I do give some people benefit of the doubt. I do know some people out there are just emotionally broken and they're not going to reason things through, or maybe they just can't reason things through. They don't really intend to destroy America. They're damaged one way or another. But the person that they wanted to speak about specifically was how I had just gone off on, David Chipman, and how I was talking about he's one of those conceited, self-centered, elitist, blah, blah, blah people. And he's like, well, why do you call these people like that? Why do you think that they don't have the best interest at heart? Why do you think they're not trying to do what's best for their country? Well, the reason is because I used to be one of them. I understand where they're coming from because I used to be them. I've never lost a child. I've never had that type of tragedy in my life. Even the things, like I said, that have pissed me off last couple of days and my hard road ahead, it's nothing compared to something like that. It's me learning how to do something differently and do it better, hopefully, so I don't get in trouble. But I've never experienced that. But I have been one of these people like Chipman. I have had military experience. I have had law enforcement experience. I have been from a family of people who think that, only the trained people, the cops, the soldiers, etc. should have guns. I've lived in that environment where it's us against them. And the average person on the street is just either too dumb or too evil to own a gun. People like Chipman and a lot of people in law enforcement and politicians, etc., they believe that shit. Even if they're very reasonable, intelligent people, they still have lived in that culture of most people are too stupid or just too bad. They're just bad people to own a gun. And they believe that. They just turn their brain off when it comes to reasoning that through. Are most people really bad? Are most people evil? Are most people too stupid to work a gun? Or is it just particular segments of society that cause most of the trouble, like gang members? That causes a big problem. Do we really have a big gun problem when the vast majority of people that die at the end of a gun kill themselves? Do we have a gun problem or do we have a mental health problem? Anybody who's reasonable could think those things through. But the reason they don't think it through is because they don't want to. They have their set opinions. And I'm telling you, I was one of them. I was someone that when I saw a civilian carrying a gun, as I saw it in my mind, I was like, that's an accident waiting to happen or a crime waiting to happen. It wasn't till I got out of those circles to where I was no longer in that echo chamber that I started realizing, hey, most of the people I meet every day are decent people. And maybe they're not all brain scientists, That's kind of a combination of rocket scientist, brain surgeon. I guess that makes you even smarter, right? If you're a brain scientist or a rocket surgeon, maybe. But like I say, maybe people aren't rocket scientists, but they're usually pretty good at people. And it doesn't take a lot of brains to know which end to point a gun at, which end of the gun to point at people. It also doesn't take a lot of brains to know when to not point a gun at someone. Just basic common decency. And a lot of the crime that occurs from guns is people that don't really have any issues that would make them bad gun owners. They just, other than the gang members, they just commit crimes of passion. They kill their loved one. They kill their wife. They kill their husband, which is much rarer. Well, I guess maybe, we might see more husband killings now that there's gay marriage, because you got two XY chromosome people there that one of them might just beat the other one to death or shoot them or whatever, because, men are more likely to be violent. So that might be one of the things that comes from the gay marriage, but we'll see. But like I said, the crimes of passion, they're interfamiliar. They're with family members, friends, etc. They're moments of rage. Or there's some people that just snap and go off on their bosses and their co-workers, etc. People that are not able to cope with normal things. Things that, when you see what it is that led up to them snapping, it's stuff that most of us have been through, and I never once considered doing something like that. So there are a lot of people that are deficient in dealing with stress, dealing with tragedy, dealing with all kinds of things. But most people, I think, can handle a firearm. And I'm not going to demonize 99% of the people for what 1% of the people do. I'm not even going to demonize 90% of people for what 10% of the people do. But I'm telling you, these people like Chipman, politicians, people that have been lived in this bubble where they're special, they're being groomed for greatness, they're important. They're well trained. They're tactical. I even see it in these tactical trainers that look down on most people who own a gun if they didn't take my course. You just see it all the time. And like I say, it's very prevalent in these people like Chipman and these other politicians. They really don't think you should own a gun. They don't think you are sufficiently trained. They don't think you're smart enough. And they don't think you have a good enough heart to be trusted with a firearm. And I'm not saying that to just make them look bad. I'm saying that's what they believe because, like I said, I believed it when I was in those circles. So it really helps when you're trying to see where these people come from if you've been in the same circles as these people. And when you have been, you can tell they are not trying to do something for the right reasons. They just have all the wrong ideas about us, and they want to take guns away from us. All right, now that I've said that, I want to move on and address one other issue here. Now, this is a completely different type of burn someone sent to me today. And like I said, today just was not the day to send me nasty emails because I was not in the mood. But they sent me an email calling me a hypocrite and a sellout. And they basically said I'm a hypocrite because I go around telling everybody not to buy from Springfield Armory, blah, blah, blah. And then what do I put on my top 10 list? Springfield Armory guns. And I probably have done that because Springfield Armory said, here's a check. Maybe now you'll like our guns. So they're saying I'm a hypocrite saying one thing, doing another, and that I'm a sellout because I've obviously taken money from Springfield Armory to promote their product. Well, that is not the case at all. Either of those. I might be a little bit of a hypocrite. We all are. But I honestly don't like Springfield Armory. If you don't know why, well then search my videos. Maybe I'll link it in the corner up here to why I don't like Springfield Armory. And that hasn't changed. And I'll tell you that every time anyone asks me, I won't buy their guns. But when I'm doing a list of top 10 this or top 10 that, I have to be honest with my viewers about what is the best item. I'm not going to mislead someone watching my channel and say, this product sucks just because they didn't pay me. Or something like that. I'm not going to mislead you just because I personally have a personal grudge. I'm not going to do that because I owe it to my viewers when I say I think this is the overall best gun, that it be the overall best gun. Like with my 10mm list, the Ronin is a great gun. The TRP, a great gun. I can't slam them. I can say I hate Springfield Armory and I would never buy one of their products. You'll also notice I don't tell you not to buy their products. Because I don't like cancel culture. I will say my opinion and why I won't buy them. And then every time someone asks me, if you're in one of my live chats, whenever anyone asks me, well, I want to buy this Springfield Armory, what do I say? I say, go ahead and buy it. It's a good gun. As long as you don't have a problem with them, why do you care? Why do you care if I have a problem? Buy the gun. So when I make the list, If their gun is one of the best guns and it should be on that list, it's going to be on that list, just like Glock makes my list. And I don't like Glocks personally that much, but they make my lists quite often as best this, best that. So it's not a case of being hypocritical here, if I could get the words out. It's not a case of being, when I get mad, my stammer comes back some. It's not a case of being hypocritical. It's not a case of being a sellout. It's a case of being honest. And I can understand. It's just like when they accuse me, like, you never make up your mind. You're always changing your mind on things. Therefore, you're just a hypocrite, or you just can't. You don't know nothing. No, I change my mind when I get new information, and if I find something else about something, if I change my opinion of something, I will say, hey, I was wrong about this. But people see that as a negative because you didn't stick with your original story. This is kind of the same thing. I'm not going to lie about products. If they're good, I'll say they're good. If they're bad, I'll say they're bad. If I like them, I'll say I like them. If I don't like them, I'll say I don't like them. None of those are me trying to pressure you into buying anything, because I'm not getting kickbacks. I'm not doing discount codes. I'm not taking money from distributors. So how am I selling out when I'm just being honest? Because that's what it really is. I'm just trying to be honest with my viewers, with no other, motivation, no monetary motivation, nothing like that. And that's what I think is confusing a lot of people out there, because they watch other gun channels who will slam your product if you don't pay them, will say good things about your product if you do pay them, whether they like it or not, and usually won't say a bad thing about anybody unless they've pissed them off. And they don't care if it's a good company or a bad company. If that company doesn't play ball with them, they'll slam them. So I think that's what's confusing some of you out there, especially the person that wrote this letter, because you just watch too many gun channels and they're not honest. One thing I might not be particularly handsome anymore. I'm not particularly in good shape. I ain't rich. My dong doesn't hit the toilet water when I sit down. Balls pretty much do, but so I don't have those things going for me. But one thing I am is honest. I'll tell you what I think. I think most people have noticed that, especially if you come to my live chats. If you've never been to one of my live chats and you want to know what I think, come into one. Ask questions. I play kind of a character here on these videos, but in my live chats, it's just me and the 300 or 400 people that come in there to listen and talk, make comments. So if you want to know something about me, come to me. You don't feel the need to write snarky emails without ever contacting me. If you want to know something, like I said, I'll tell you live on the air. So right there, I think, is the problem. Like I said, I'm just being honest with my viewers, and a lot of viewers aren't used to that. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. Like I said, it's not going to be a full show because, like I say, I don't have time for it today, and I'm not in the mood for it. But I want to thank everyone for at least coming, and those of you that actually paid attention to this video, thanks for that, because I'm sure a lot of you are going to turn it off as soon as it starts. But I want to sign off tonight since it is Friday, and I won't see you again until Monday. Hopefully I'll be in a better mood. But I want to sign off by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it could be a lot worse, but it could be better. And if we continue to ignore the fearmongers, the profiteers, the propagandists, the fake activists, the one that want to pretend like they're fighting for us when they're really only trying to pad their own bottom line and protect the industry's interests, if we continue to ignore those people and fight hard and strong for the Second Amendment, what things will be for people who love the Second Amendment and freedom in general in the very near future is better.